Vital Signs. This is the Mission and Goals podcast. Radio check over. Hang in there, buddy. We've got you. You're not alone.
Dion, welcome.
Hello, my friend.
Welcome to the Mission and Goals podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Something you helped create.
Thank you.
Loving your energy, loving this, and loving the vibe. This is your local cafe. They know you well here, and they've even been kind enough to give us a conference room.
Yeah, ready to rock and roll.
And one of your clients saw this morning.
Yeah, old Claire Bear.
Claire. Met her before. She's doing well.
Yeah.
Sorry, just getting
All right, take your time, bro. The joys of podcasting.
Oh, okay. Dion,
My friend.
how are you?
Mate, I'm awesome. I'm nervous, as we were chatting this morning. I get married in 3 weeks today, bro. So it's some big things coming up, and can officially call my beautiful fiance and the mother of my children my wife, which is exciting but nervous at the same time. It's gonna be great to get it over and done with, as silly as it sounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
3 weeks away. Where?
Yeah.
It's I'll get here this morning from our little chat and you're a bit nervous.
I haven't
What are you
been
nervous
nervous
about?
at all, man, until I was like, fuck, in 3 weeks. I'm like, I don't even know what to do when I rock up on the day, you know? The same is like setting up this podcast. It's like you try to get everything right, and it's like my vows. I'm like, how do you write vows? I was even asking ChatGPT, you know? And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna rock up on the day and I'm just gonna say what comes. So
Yeah, awesome.
that's it.
Yeah, awesome.
So I like to do everything on the fly. That's why I like this sort of stuff, man. It's like just do it on the flow, whatever comes from it, just make the
Got
right
it.
message will come across.
Yeah, got it working.
Yeah.
Still dramas every day with this podcast, but one day it'll come good. 3 weeks, you're going to be officially taken.
Yeah.
And then what? What do you think is going to change? What do you think being married is going to do?
Nothing, man.
Nothing?
Nothing changes. It's honestly, it's like whenever we go anywhere, it's Dion Monkivitch, Malibu Monkivitch,
Yeah.
Xander Monkivitch, and then they're like Simone Monkivitch. And it's like, no, it's Sullivan.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's like it'd be nice to, you know, sort of seals the deal with the name, the family. That makes us a one unit. So I think that's the only thing that's going to change. It's like get to change our name, and we live a blessed and great life as it is. So it's like, yeah, it's going to feel complete, I guess.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Dion, I met you this year,
Yeah.
around February, March, around there.
Yeah. Feels like a lifetime.
It's been a bit of a journey. Things have changed, things have happened. So I met you, you were recommended to me by a good friend of mine, because I was a bit lost in life, looking for a bit of direction.
Yeah.
She put me in touch with you because her mentor is a client of yours.
Yeah.
You're a mentor of one of her mentors.
Yeah.
So I decided to skip the middleman, go straight to the big boss.
Yeah.
And here we are a year later. What exactly you do?
Brother, what I do is, well, my vision and mission, I guess, is to help people create true freedom and a better world through entrepreneurship. And the reason I get used to saying that, because most people, you know, they want to start a business or follow a passion to create their own version of freedom and live their own version of impact, you know. And I think they get everything but that. Most people, they build a business and they think it's, I get to work life on my terms. Don't work a 9 to 5 anymore. No, you work 24/7. And most people, you know, they create a jail or a prison for themselves where they create a beast, you know, this business that may make money, but it's a business that's completely dependent on them. You know, they can't go home without stressing about the business. When they're at home, they're thinking about work. When they're at work, they're thinking about the family, and they can't anchor themselves or be present with where they are. And I guess that's where I come in. And it's, I'm so passionate about it because I'm a father of 2 beautiful little ones. Xander, he turns 6 in January, and Malibu, she turns 3 in December. And I thought I was the best father in the world, but to be honest, I've been a workaholic for a very long time, and I lost everything almost twice. And it was from, you know, doing what a lot of people do in business, where it's all fun and games to start with, and you know, then 3, 5, 10 years goes, and it's like it absorbs you. And you think about anything in life, when something absorbs you, something has to give, whether it's your health or your family. And it was my family that was starting to give. So COVID was a blessing in disguise for us, and that's where I went onto this path to now help other business owners, you know, that are got businesses already established, but you know, it's become their own prison.
Yep.
So usually my works now, I guess our major clients is people that are in business, they're making money, and they've got to a stage where it feels like they're doing more but earning less. They've got a team they can't rely on. Their family's falling apart. They feel like they're going through midlife crisis or depression, all this sort of stuff, and they feel like they've lost their identity. So that's when they come to us and we help them scale their business, and we do significantly increase their income, but we help them do it in a way that's not dependent on the founder or the owner. So
Yeah,
I'm a business coach.
business. Yeah.
In
Which has
some way.
helped. So Dion actually helped me get Mags started.
Yeah.
It was an idea. Dion kicked me in the butt, believed in me. He's pretty much the only one who believed in me until I got it going. Keep going, and now we're doing the podcast 8 months later.
Yeah.
So that's pretty incredible. It's a pretty amazing journey. I just want to bring up this morning we ran into one of your clients, Claire, who I'd met before at a barbecue.
Yeah.
She sent you a message this morning after meeting, after seeing you. Can you read that out? Oh, you
Yeah,
can't.
sure. I can't. I'll give you a bit of a rundown, but literally, as I was walking into our cafe, she sent me a photo saying, I'm in your cafe. And I was like, oh, you cheeky bugger. And anyway, she'd sent me a message and it said something along the lines of, my cup and life is so full. I've got an incredible kids, husband, life, business, purpose, mentor. And what's funny is we've increased her business. In the first 10 weeks of working together, we increased her profit, not her revenue, her profit, money in the bank with her business. In the first 10 weeks, we increased it by $500,000. That's one thing. But a few weeks later after that, she sent me this selfie on a Friday lunchtime. And it was her husband, and her little daughter having lunch together. And she said, this is the first time in 12 years I've been able to have a lunch break on a Friday with my family, and my business can run without me.
Yeah, amazing.
The money is one thing, but helping somebody live a life of fulfillment, it's one other thing. It's why I go back to that quote. I love Tony Robbins. If anybody follows me, they'll know that. He has this quote, and he says, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And so often it's like, making money is easy. Like, it's easy. Buy property for your whole life, hold on to it, you'll make money. Create a business that solves problems or meets people's needs, you'll make money. Work your way up in a career and upskill yourself, you'll make money. Money is easy to make, it's everywhere. But finding yourself and finding true happiness, that's a different beast in itself, because so many people you talk to, they say, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when I get the car, or when I have this much money, or when I have the house, or when I get to this stage. And the thing is, when you get to that stage, you'll realize it's never about the pursuit of the thing. It's about the pursuit, because the pursuit is what forces you to grow. And as Tony says, the secret to, happiness is progression. And it's one of our number one human core needs. And it's why, relationships go through the honeymoon stage. It's like, it's so electric and alive to start with. And it's because you're growing together. Where most people, when you're not growing, you're dying. When you get comfortable, stagnant, you think of like, if you go to a lake, your parents always said, never drink from a lake that's not running, because there's moss, it grows mold, You want to drink from a flowing stream.
Yes.
And that's what it's about, man. It's like, you want your life to be a flowing stream. You want to be constantly evolving. But here's the catch. Everybody is fearful of challenges, or they're wishing for life to be easier, or they're fearful of failure. But the exact thing you need for you to achieve what it is that you want is challenge, is growth, is failure. Because it's the only, like, think about it, bro. It's like, the way that you grow your muscles in the gym, you do weights, you put them under pressure, right? It's the only way you're going to grow. That's what you need in life. But people fear and avoid the exact thing that they are craving unconsciously to find themselves. It's, I believe everybody's got limitless potential within them, but you're never going to find that unless you go against the status quo, you go against the norm, and everybody's like, oh, you've got to do this, or the government said that, or it's like, and then people start judging you. The moment you stand out, you outstand from a crowd, you get judged, you get picked on. And our habitual beings, we want to go back and conform because, as a mammal, what happens in the jungle if somebody leaves the pack? They get attacked. And same thing in society. So a lot of people avoid the exact thing that they need to move forward and to find true happiness and fulfillment in themselves.
How do you get people out of their heads? How do you get me out of my head to doing what I did? Like, as an example, or anyone? It's
easy said than done, but there's a process. At the end of the day, if I could break this down, first things first, I have this saying, you know, I say, if you're in your head, you're dead. Easier said than done. I get that. But so often people are on this hamster wheel without a goal. And as silly as and as cliche as this sounds, people need a goal. Otherwise, you're waking up and you're living life by accident. You need a goal. You need a target. You know, when you went and served in the army, you didn't just meaninglessly roam the streets or the jungle, whatever it may be. You had a mission. You had a goal.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people fall into that, what people call and label depression, and you get medicated for it and they lose their identity because you're running on external chemicals. People lose why they're alive.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it when you served. You guys had a goal, so you were working towards something. So you had a mission, you had a purpose, and you were surrounded by a brotherhood. And then all of a sudden, you get your big paycheck, you leave, you get fucking put into your home, and all of a sudden, you've got a bank account that's full, but you feel empty.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've now got no purpose. You wake up with no meaning.
Mm-hmm.
You don't wake up with a brotherhood. So what do people do? They default to, fuck, I need love and connection. So they usually resort to drugs, alcohol, gambling, the pub, anything. Because other people that feel the same way as them are there doing it.
Yeah.
And that's when the downward spiral goes down. So the first things first is that people need a goal. But the second thing, which is so important, is you need an environment to help you thrive. I can give you two of the exact same seed. Plant one in the desert in a toxic environment. No matter how good that seed is, it'll never grow. You get the exact same perfectly good seed and you put it in the right environment, the right soil, and you water it with the right stuff, it will thrive. So people need a goal and they need to be surrounded by other people and an environment that helps them win, that believes in them. And I think why my clients have such success and such growth is because I literally lend them my belief in them. I believe in them so much. It's funny. Every time I'm on like a discovery call, which definitely isn't a sales call. I'll never sell you into it. But people, yeah, some people call it, people like, how do you sell people? I don't fucking sell people.
Yeah.
I talk to them, and if I genuinely believe I can help them, I will move mountains and I will feel guilty if they don't sign up for what I do, because I know I can help them. And you know myself, so I will do anything for my clients. And the thing is, so often, yourself included, have come back and said to me, he's like, you know what? When you said you believed me in me at the start, bro, I thought you were just trying to, sell something to me because I believe in you, mate. Come sign up. It's like, no, I genuinely believe in you so much.
during the discovery call.
And then now, and then now it's like, bro, it's like, I can see you genuinely believed in it. You actually saw something in me, and it's funny, man. You get around people that believe in you, you start believing in yourself. You start like. Things change, but the thing is, most people surround themselves with what I call dream stealers. And some people aren't going to agree with this, but the reality is, you've got to let go to grow. If you're hanging around people that are bitching and moaning about their missus, their boss, the government, what's wrong with stuff, it's very toxic. You need to get around people that are talking about how they're going to change the world, how they're going to go and help somebody say, how they're going to go and pay it forward, 100%. You need to surround yourself and put yourself in an environment so that your seed can grow. Because most people think they're fucking broken. You're not broken. Your seed's just in the wrong environment.
I did a whole video, I haven't released it yet, about not being broken. I don't even like the term being broken because I've been leaving all year.
Diagnosed.
Yeah, all year I've considered, and for years considered myself broken. The veterans are broken mentally, physically. I'm in because I've got surgeries and pain and all that. But broken to me implies you can't be fixed. Like, you're broken, you can be fixed, but like I'd much rather the positive word of healing.
100%.
Instead of saying broken seems very negative. Now I'm healing, it implies I am fixing myself.
Yeah.
Which is broken. You can be broken and sitting in the garbage dump.
Yeah.
Sitting there wasting away.
Think of it this way, man. Think about the superhero movies we love. When Batman or Spider-Man or Superman faces massive chaos and he finally gets through it, do people think more of him or less of him? I think more of him. You understand, every new level presents a new devil, but the coolest part is, the bigger the devil, the bigger the hero you must be. That's the coolest part. You cannot grow into the person that you dream of being or the person that you look up to unless you're faced with chaos. Because there's no reason for you to grow if there's no chaos. So that's exactly what we'll talk about before, bro. It's like, I understand life can be tough, and I understand some people have got like shit upbringings and they're dealing with traumas, that sort of. I understand and I sympathize with that. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is a choice. And the reality is you don't have to hold on to that shit forever. You have a choice to let go of the chains, but only you can make that decision. But when you make that decision, it's weird, man. I don't know whether I believe in God or not, but I believe in something, you know, I believe in the universe or something's out there, you know, there has to be. And the reality is, it's like, you can have whatever it is that you want. And the universe or God, whatever it is you believe in, is going to say, look, Joel, you can have that, brother. But I only give that responsibility and that lifestyle and that financial freedom to a small percentage of the world, because it requires somebody responsible enough to look after it. So I'm going to test you. You can have it, but I'm going to try and push you off your path. I'm going to test you. I'm going to throw you off the track. I'm going to do everything to see if you've got what it takes. But most of us go, not good enough. Why is this happening to me? Poor me. This fucking sucks. It's not meant to be. No, it's exactly the way it should be. It's all divine and right on time.
It's this podcast has tested me.
I saw it heating up before.
Every time I've clicked record, I wanted to give it up. You're setting it up because it is, even today, if you didn't bring your laptop, it's just be audio. And I've got all the gear, no idea. Dion, we talked a lot about growing in the fear, in the unknown. How do you get someone to go, like, even step into the unknown? So veterans, we're good at it when it comes to putting our life on the line, when it comes to danger, when it comes to admin, when it comes to any of this civilian role stuff. It's like we're fucking go to the mush. I see a lot of veterans, you even put paperwork in front of them, they will look at it and it's too hard. They're just like, no, and they're blind. That's the type of level of fear we're dealing with when it comes to veterans and the brain, because we'll run towards fucking enemy fire any day of the week. But if you put something in front of us that we're not trained to do, a lot of veterans will crumble and fucking give up. That to me is the unknown. Like an example is Department of Veteran Affairs. Right. You get injured, mental health, physical injuries. Department of Veteran Affairs looks after you as a veteran when you get out. To get a payout, just say, like, I've had like 9 surgeries and continual pain and stuff. To get a payout, you've got to fill out all this paperwork, you've got to prove that you've got injured service, you've got to go through all this stuff. I know veterans that started it, got 3 minutes into it, and have put the paperwork down because they find it too hard, the anxiety goes through the roof. Now, they're missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars because of that fear. How do we convince people, veterans, anyone, like, that's the level of fear? How do you get them to do it? You know, take that step further.
Just do it. No,
it was different for me. Like, you get me to film a video. Remember how hard it was for me to film my first video? I sat in front of a camera for 3 weeks. So how do we?
Sure. 2 things. Number one is I was having a chat with a client the other day, is trying to quit smoking. And the thing is, when people are quitting an addiction, for example, they're focusing on how hard it is to quit the addiction. You need to focus on what you're going to get by quitting the addiction. You know, so you need to focus on the reward rather than the pain in the moment. And that's why most people, when they serve, they're doing it for their country. So they're not focusing on the pain of something going on in that moment. They're focusing on why they're there. So you need to not focus on the problem. You need to focus on the solution. So you need to focus on that. By completing this, what's the outcome? That's one thing. But how do we actually do the first step and do it when you're feeling, you know, like your brain's mush and that sort of thing? I'll paint an analogy for you. I want you to pretend you've never been to the gym. And you walk into the gym and you're like, my goal is to do 10 chin-ups. The first thing you do, you go up to the chin-up bar, you try to do a chin-up and you can't fucking budge up. How am I ever going to do 10 chin-ups? You know, it starts by doing one. But you can't do one. So what do? You might get a stool and you might help yourself on the stool to put yourself, but you get something to assist you. Or you get, like, some of them have like that a machine that you put your knees on, it's got a weight that sort of pushes you up. And then eventually it helps you enough until you can do it yourself. But you've got to do the reps. So in this thing, what I do about, cool, instead of focusing on the problem, go, great. I'm going to give myself until the end of the week to come up with a solution to how I can do it without actually doing it.
Mhm.
And I go, awesome. Who would actually love to do this for me? Or who's actually skilled at doing this for me? And I'm going to write down 5 people that I could reach out to for help. And I'll just reach out for help and book them in. Give all of your challenges a time and a place to live in this world. And break it down, look at it for what it is and not worse than this. Go, cool, this paperwork gives me fucking anxiety. If I had no choice to find a solution right now and I needed one person to do it for me, who would it be? And write down a list of 5 people and reach out. Ask for help. If you'd ask me, well, fuck, I don't like paperwork either, brother, but my sister does. I tell you what, I'll connect you with her.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what I would do.
Okay.
I go, cool. Instead of trying to just force yourself to do it, which might cause more pain as it is, I go, awesome. Who could I reach out for help? Like, ask for help.
There is
I'd
actually
rather
some stuff out there.
Yeah, and I would just go, cool. I would. The outcome is by this Sunday, no matter what, I've booked somebody in to help me. Cool. You might sit down with them and it might not work. Cool. Give yourself another week. I will find another person to sit down and help me, and do it that way instead of trying to just literally force and pull yourself over broken glass to do it.
I want to ask you, I've had a few of the MAGS members, about starting a business.
Yep.
Before we even get to starting a business, what should someone look at doing? Like the idea, like what's the first steps? Because there's guys out here, and I know you've owned gyms. I know a couple of guys that want to start their own personal training gym.
Yeah.
They have the qualification of personal trainer or whatever it is. How does one have an idea to then launch that into the real world to then not live this matrix life?
Yeah. So there's a million ways you can look at this, but there's one thing that I'll recommend looking up. I think it's a Japanese teaching. I'm not too sure, but it's called Ikigai. It's like IKIA, something like that. Ikigai. If you Google it, you'll be able to work it out. But basically, it's about finding your purpose, your passions, your strengths, and then how to basically bring them together and find the sweet spot. You need to absolutely, like a lot of people say, is you don't need to love what you do. I'll tell you what, it's a whole lot easier if you love what you do, because there's some days you don't want to work. There's some days you've had a shit day, you've done 16 hours and you're trying to push through. It's so much easier to get up and do something that you love, you know?
Yep.
And I think Steve Jobs said something along the lines of, he goes, if you wake up day in, day out, and you're about to go and do something that you don't love, you need to stop and ask yourself, if I could do anything right now, what is it I would do? And go and do that. And the reality is, a lot of people, I know people are fearful of like where money's going to come from and all that sort of stuff. The reality is, like, there's going to be challenges at the start when you start a business, lack of finances and all that sort of thing. But the reality is, I always reflect on this quote whenever I get started. And I remind myself, when things are tough, if you don't sacrifice now for your dreams and goals, your dreams and goals will eventually become the sacrifice. So if there's somebody, for example, that, is a PT and they want to start their own PT studio or their own gym, the way I would do it, or this is how I did it, is I would go, awesome. Why do I want to start a gym? And how am I going to be different to everybody else so that I don't have competition? So when I first opened my gyms PLC, my mum, my sisters, all my friends, family, everyone used to always say, aren't you worried because they're 45 and fit stop and all this sort of, these gyms are on every corner and down in the same street. And I'm like, guys, there's 330,000 people on the sunny coast. I only need 250 people in my gym to make a great impact and a great income.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't get 250 people out of 330,000 people, I shouldn't be starting a business. You need to love what you're doing. But first things first, you need a goal. The reason for that is you need a target to aim for. Why? Because you could be the best archer in the world and shoot as many arrows as you want. But if you don't have a target, you're just wasting your energy. But the benefit is if you now have a target, you can aim for the target. And then if you miss, you can measure and see how far you missed by. You've now got a gauge on whether you're going in the right direction or not. So you need a clear goal. Okay, so for example, I would love a gym that looks like this and start sketching, draw some ideas in this location, in this size shed, with this many members. But why do you want to open up a gym, and how are you going to be different? Our gym was the most expensive gym, and it was shockers, like sardines. You couldn't fit another member in within 8 weeks of opening. And the reality was, we just had a tilt panel shed. We barely painted the thing. We had cheap core bags and kettlebells with some PA speakers from JB Hi-Fi. Whereas down the road, F45, had the flash screens, all glass building, the thing pristine. Our gym boomed. And you've got to remember, people don't remember what you did to them or what you said to them. They remember how you made them feel. And the thing was, every single person that walked out our door of the gym, they felt alive. They felt like they were part of a second family. So you need to work out, it's one thing to start a business, but 1% make it.
Yep.
You need to make sure that there's a market for what you do. You need to make sure that that market you want to help has money. They need to be able to afford your services. Okay. My business coaching now, it costs, anywhere from $25,000 to $60,000. When I started, I didn't start like that. I think my first business coaching was like $1,200. That's where it started. I had to work my way up. But you need to make sure that whatever you're going into, there is a demand. Okay. And then once you've got that goal, you can now reverse engineer it. And I can explain to you why, the importance of that clear goal. Wherever you're watching this or listening to this right now, I want you to pretend you've been invited to a party at my house on the Sunshine Coast. Okay. No matter where you are, you're not allowed to fly. You've got to drive your car to come and see me. Okay. You don't know how to get to where I live, but if I give you my exact location, what do you do with that location then if you're getting in your car to drive to see me?
Through maps.
Yeah, you put it in your maps. And does that maps give you how many kilometers and an ETA time? Yeah, it does. But I tell you what, you don't know all those different roads you're going to take, but the map guides you. So it's not about the how. You need to know and get honest with where you are now and where you want to go, and the how will work out the way. But here's the coolest part. As long as your destination is crystal clear, when you're driving following that map, what happens if there's a roadblock or there's traffic? It starts to reroute you. So yes, it might take longer, but because it knows where you're going and you're so determined on where you're going to go, the map reroutes you. It might take a little bit longer. It might take double the time, but you keep getting clearer on where you want to go, and you keep committed and relentless to that goal. You will find a way to get there. But you've got to fucking want it. You need to. The main difference with people that succeed or not succeed is the ones that succeed, they say, I'll either succeed or die. And the ones that do that, they generally tend to succeed rather than die. Most people have a fucking plan B. If you've got a plan B, you're not going to get there. You need to go all in. As Tony says, go to the fucking island and burn the boats. There's no option to go back. So you have to find a way.
Yep. When
you're hungry and you need to find a way, you just do. There would have been moments and times where you serve and you look back, you're like, fuck, how did I get through that? Or how did I find the strength? Or how did I do that thing? You don't know. It's like a higher force guided you.
Yep.
But you've got to be all in. So it doesn't matter about the skills. They say it's like, I always say it's like business is as strong as the psychology of the leader. The reality is a lot of businesses fail because of the psychology of the leader. You've got to work on this guy 24/7, like your fitness.
But that was one of the first things you said to me before we even started the business. We've got to get your mindset.
Yeah.
Your head.
Get that. So otherwise, if you're fucked mentally, and I put a business on top of you, those problems just bleed through the business. No joke. 9 out of 10 business owners I work with and talk to, they don't have business problems. They have personal problems that bleed through their business.
Okay.
You've got to sort this out. Are we looking for perfection? No. Are you going to have bad days? Yes. But instead of saying you're sad, say you're a fucking level 2 happy instead of a level 10 happy. Like, stop branding yourself and giving yourself a disadvantage and believing in all this stuff you've been fed your whole life. And understand that you are a creation of God or the universe. And it's not about always being happy. You want to feel these emotions of life, every level of emotion. Be grateful for it because they're still powerful emotions. It's how you use them is the difference. But when you're hungry and when you're committed to something and you want it so bad, the world just opens up to you, man. Half this year I'm like, what I've done, I don't know how the fuck I did it, honestly. I'm sorry for swearing so much, guys, but like, I don't know how I did it. Mate, I don't know how I did it. But I was committed. I'm all in.
Did you have a clear goal about this business, your business mentoring pro coaching program from the beginning? Like,
So
is this your
it
goal?
wasn't crystal clear. So I accidentally fell into this, man, because what, do you want me to share a bit of a story with you?
Yeah, let's
Cool.
go for it.
So I've been in business, I'm 34 now, and I've been in business since I was 17. Anyway, I built a significantly successful business by the age of 25, and I lost everything overnight. I was financially free. Like, I wasn't one of those multi-millionaires yet, but like, I didn't have to worry about money. And I lost everything overnight. And it was a massive, humbling wake-up call. But the reality was that my financial position and my business grew faster than I did. You know, I was an egotistic, bodybuilding, juiced up douchebag. If I reflect on myself, I wasn't ready for the success. And it forced me to completely reset and become the man that I'm constantly chasing to be right now. A great father, partner, friend, mentor, whatever it is. But what happened is I started the gyms and they grew really quickly. And we're about 4 years in, and this thing called COVID came along. And we had 6 hours to shut our gyms down. And I had 16 full-time staff members. And I shit my pants. I was like, oh, like, these businesses, they're only 4 years old. Like, it's relatively new. And I was like, in 6 weeks, if I've got to keep paying my staff legally, I'm going to be bankrupt. What am I going to do? And at this stage, I thought I was a pretty good father and partner. Like, I did everything for my family. And 2 days into COVID, couldn't leave the house. Boogeyman was outside. Couldn't leave the house. And I won't get into that. I couldn't leave the house, as you all know. You know, we're locked up inside, and I was sitting on my balcony, and we've got this view over the mountains. And I was looking out over the mountains, and there was this beautiful sunset. I was just sitting out, and I was like, oh, that's beautiful. Like, I was just looking at it. And in that moment, I thought in my head, I'm like, is this here every day? And I was like, of course it is, you dickhead. It's just, you're a workaholic. And in that moment, I realized, I was like, for the last 3 to 4 years, I've been doing 16 to 18 hours a day. And I thought I was a great father and partner. But to be honest, I was a partner, a lover, and a dad a few hours a week. All I did was work. Yes, we had the money and the cars and the house, but all I did was work. You know, I wasn't really there for my family. And in that moment, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to sell the gyms. I'm going to walk away from everything. In that moment, I was like, I couldn't care if I walk away at a loss. What's weird, the moment I commit, like I said, when you commit, it's one thing to just commit and half-ass something and treat that something like a hobby and have a plan B, a backdoor strategy. But when you commit and go all in, everything changes. I don't know how, man, but everything changes. You talk to any successful person. It's like the seas just part. 2 days later, I get an inbox. Hey, mate, do you want to sell your gyms? I was like, isn't that interesting? I was like, yeah, I'm going to sell the gyms. So I sold the gyms. But part of the deal was I had to get them back up to market value 8 weeks post-COVID to, you know, get the money that I wanted for them. Okay, so sold the gyms. And then I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, man. I built some success. Like, I had 4 other businesses before the gyms. 3 really successful. 1 almost sent me under. So I had a name for myself, especially on the Sunny Coast, for being good at building businesses. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? But anyway, the markets crashed during COVID. And my brother had been significantly successful. And he was like, hey, bro, I want to buy like a few $100,000 worth of Bitcoin. Do you have a wallet? I was like, oh, I don't know. He goes, because if I want to do this right now, I've only got like a split window to buy it at this price. But because he wanted to buy so much money worth of it, you needed to like 2 days of like ID processing to get a wallet, all this sort of stuff. And all of a sudden, I was light bulb moment. I was like, you know what, bro? I think I've got a Bitcoin wallet somewhere. He goes, what do you mean? I'm like, well, back in 2012, when I was bodybuilding semi-professionally, our coach had us on all sorts of things, and you couldn't buy them from your sub shop. You had to buy this stuff from the black market, and you had to buy it with Bitcoin. So I had a wallet full of Bitcoin. So I accidentally made a lot of money from cryptocurrency. And then I saw how easy I made this money by just buying and holding Bitcoin. I was like, maybe this is my new jam, you know, maybe I'll start trading cryptocurrencies. So anyway, I started like trading cryptocurrencies, and I was making, you know, 6 figures every single month. And I'd never been so depressed or upset in my whole life. And there was a moment I was sitting down at breakfast with my wife to be in 3 weeks. She's looked at me, she goes, are you okay? And I was just pale white. I'm like, no, I feel sick. She goes, why? I was like, I just lost $38,000 in 20 minutes eating breakfast, watching the markets. And it turned into gambling, you know, and we're still making good money, but I just wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't making an impact, you know, with the gyms, like you're changing people's lives. And that's what was like that Claire story I shared earlier. It's like, yes, I've helped her build a significant business, but seeing her fulfillment with her family and having her life back, nothing compares. And I was missing that aspect, you know, I was missing the impact aspect. So I was like, I've got to stop this. I don't know what I'm going to do. But anyway, I was making this money, and what I realized, I had no purpose now. I was literally trading on a screen in a dark room at home, trading on a screen, a recipe for depression, you know, a dark room by myself in my own thoughts. So I was like, what am I going to do? And anyway, I'd always been, you know, consistent with social media and had a decent following on social media and that sort of thing. And I'd always get people message me about, hey, bro, can I have some help with my business? And, you know, so I like helping people out. So I'd send a couple of messages or some voice notes and give them some tips on their business. And, you know, 1 out of 20 people that would actually take my advice, their business would just go like this, you know, it would just skyrocket. But I was like, I tell all these other 20 people the exact same advice I gave to this guy here, but they fucking do nothing with it. And what made me realize is people never really value what it is that you teach them or do for them unless they've got blood in the game. You know, you give people stuff for free, it's like they just really don't value it. You know, it's like you can learn anything you want on YouTube, ChatGPT, Google, but why don't people still get fit or build a successful business? Because they don't value it. You know, you've got to work for it, you've got to pay, you've got to have an exchange of value there to really value it.
I said, well, remember when I enlisted your help?
Yeah.
I said the reason I went with you, and like there's multiple reasons, but one of them was you charge so much, and it cost me. Don't get me wrong, but it cost a lot.
Yeah,
especially with someone on the pension, and stinks, but been well worth it.
Yeah.
And the reason I did that is I had a business mentor years ago who I didn't pay anywhere near as much, and I just let it go to the side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything vested into it.
Yeah.
A lot vested with you.
Yeah.
And got a podcast up and running in the veteran support group. So
you have it. Yeah. But no, like you change your whole mind. Like you change the way you look at the world. It's like what I noticed is I was like, cool, like what can I start charging people for a little bit of advice or a phone call so they value it a little bit, and you know, it would not send them backwards. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, excuse me, they'd have to pay money to go, oh fuck, all right, I better take this seriously. Yeah. So I started charging $1,200 for advice. And I've always said, it's like, if you're not happy with my services, I'll give you my money back. I've always backed myself because I'm very public on social media. I can't afford to have a bad reputation. So anyway, I started charging, you know, $1,200 for advice for people, and I'd jump on a phone call and I'd give them some tips on their business. I could go over and above for them. And, you know, weeks later, they'd be like, hey, bro, I did what you said and my business has just gone like that. And I was like, wow, like, I'm pretty good at this. You know, I was pretty good at like giving advice to these people's businesses. And then they'd send a friend my way. And then all of a sudden, I'd wake up some mornings to 10 inboxes. You know, this week I've probably had 5 or 6 high-profile companies reaching out, hey, can you help us? And I don't have the capacity, you know? And anyway, so I couldn't handle all of these people wanting help. I wanted to help them all, but I didn't have the time, so I wasn't going to turn into that workaholic again for money.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool. I need to start charging more so people value my services more, and hopefully that'll scare some people away. So I doubled my prices, more people came. Doubled my prices, more people came. And I was like, fuck, like, what the hell? But what I noticed, I'd still help some people out for like $1,200 here or there. And then I had other people paying 20 grand. But what I noticed, these people that I charged $1,200 for, I'd be chasing up an invoice or they wouldn't pay on time. It was attracting a market that like they still weren't all in. But what I noticed, these other clients, you know, I charged people like yourself like $12, $20, $40, $50, $60,000. You'd send the invoice 2 minutes later, paid, mate, now what? What do I do? And I was like, people that are willing to pay to play are all in. And now, man, we have clients all over Australia. The minimum client now to sign up, starts at $22,000. But you know what? the lowest return we've had for clients like that is like we've delivered over $60 million worth of
I
results.
had to ask you about that. You're working with these businesses over 60 million in results, and that's fucking huge,
And that's
unfathomable amount to like someone like me. 60 million, I couldn't even imagine. But yeah, so that's incredibly.
the business
turns super proud.
Thanks, man. Yeah, the business turns 3 in January, so we're only just warming up, man. And what's cool is this year you've had the invites and that sort of stuff. We officially launched our group coaching thing, which is, you know, that's the same thing. It's application only. So even if you've got the money, you can't come into it. It's application only. We've got 18 business owners for our first launch. You're one of them. That are coming in. It's like we're running a 3-day business boot camp. It's like, you know, it's not just business. There's ice baths where you're going to be dragged out of bed each day. You know, it's not going to be your average thing. 2 days full immersion where it's, you know, commando, learning business skills, mastermind with other business owners. And then day 3, it's going to be purely social and networking, that sort of thing. But that's going to be the sort of next level where it's called next level. But that's I'm really excited for that because right now I can sort of only handle, you know, 12 one-on-one clients, but this is going to be able to allow us to scale and help, you know, any business owner that's the right fit for us to be able to come and help us. And we don't just help with business. Like you saw the message with Claire. It's not about that, you know, it's about.
Well, I think with me, it's been more personal development than it's has been business. Like I'm not bringing money in for my business, but that was not the intent when I started seeing you, wasn't to bring money in.
Yeah.
I think without even realizing my intent to see you is to get myself out of my own head, which you helped me do.
Yeah. And one of the messages I remember, one of the messages I remember getting from you, bro, was like you sent me this voice note. You like, and I started and I saved it. I'll send it. I'll forward it to you again after this. You sent me this voice note, and it was like, bro, I've never felt so fulfilled and happy in my life. And you sent me like 3 screenshots of guys that have been messaging you from like being in your private group, and you just messaging them, just helping people out. It's like, there's no better feeling than seeing other people help other people. You know, like it's just, there's something about humans helping other humans, which we can all do for free by walking out on the street and just complimenting somebody.
Oh,
you know,
so I love this year. I've noticed years previous negative mindset. Even my average interaction with people, super negative. Now walk around with a smile. Just walking around with a smile, people smile back at you, and I can see that even the ones that could be in a shit mood, you just put a smile on their face.
Yeah.
People who serve you, coffee people, check out, like whoever.
Yeah.
Just talk to them, being nice with them. How are you? It's like, how's your day?
100%.
Oh,
just be a good human.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
now,
happy.
People go through a lot. People have trials. They don't know what happened to you during that day, and just might put you in a shit mood. But that's for that day. The next day, if you can, put a smile on.
Yeah.
Look, so I found just walking around with a smile. I was walking around with a fake smile to begin with. You know, just walking around with a smile. But then you start smiling. Yeah. And you start feeling good. Even if it's fake to begin with. So it's like walking around with a fake smile, just giving everyone a nod. But then you're like, oh, I'm actually, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
How you doing? Oh,
honestly, it's like, try this later if you haven't before, if you're watching or listening to this. It's like, just start fake laughing by yourself, or even just around other people. Yep. Just start fake laughing. And just do it for 5 minutes. I guarantee you, you'll be hysterical by the end of it. Yep. And everyone around you will too. Yep. You know, it's energy, it's a frequency. You know,
that's another thing I want to chat to you about is in my notepad. One of the huge things that drove me to you was your energy. Yeah. So on my spiritual healing journey, whatever you want to call it, started learning about energy, started learning about frequency. For those who don't know, very curious mind. And then I was one of those people that after I left the military had no purpose, no drive, no goals, no mission, and went down a super severe depressive path to the point where I tried killing myself one time. Yeah. And then what was we were just talking about? Oh, about the frequencies. And so I started looking into physics because I like learning, just sitting there in my depressed state on my couch. Learning about physics, which got me into quantum physics, which got me into light, energy, frequency, which is the spiritual world. And then how the quantum physics world sort of lines up with the spiritual world. So I started looking into that spiritual healing world. What is woo-woo world? What is
like most people think it?
Yeah. Most people, it's dirty hippie world. Yeah. So I got very curious about that. And then realized how fucking much it actually affects me. And like a lot of the hippie world, woo-woo spiritual healing journey is about working on yourself. Yeah. So one of the things that drew me to you was your energy. You had this high vibrational charismatic smile that you
Full
just want to be around.
Yeah.
And I have had a couple of good mates exactly the same.
Yeah.
You just want to be next to them.
Yeah.
But you also understand energy and positivity and about personal development, life growth mindset, and all that, which is a huge reason I want to talk to you about it. And a question I want to ask is positive mindset. How do you put yourself into a positive mindset when your whole life, for me, 33 years before I went on this healing journey, it was a negative mindset, especially for veterans. The military is very negative. Everything you do in the military is negative.
Yeah.
You fuck up, you get yelled at. There's no positive reinforcement. It's all negative. We're even negative towards each other. If you fuck up, you're a shit cunt.
Yeah.
Go over there, fucking, you climbing that hill to your better.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very negative world. So when veterans get out, they continue on with this negativity.
Yeah.
To change to a positive mindset took me a long time. I had to have some realizations. I had some rock bottoms. I had to have positive support network, mentor. What can these guys and girls do? They're sitting at home. They don't just say they don't have that positive network. They're not a part of MAGs. They're not a part. They don't have the people around them. Don't understand. What can they do as an individual to start that process change in their own head?
First things first.
I know that's a bit heavy.
No, first things first. There's a thing called state story strategy, and let me paint an analogy here so that you guys can use this right now. And this is a lot of my stuff is if there's a guide out there, it's Tony Robbins. Okay, so YouTube Tony Robbins. But where I'm going with this is there's a thing called state story strategy, the 3 S's. So I want you to, I'll paint an analogy for you guys. Have you ever met someone that's done a 6-week challenge and they lose this weight, and then 2 months later, they put it all back on? You ever noticed that? State story strategy, okay?
Yep.
So let's be honest here. If you wanted to get fit and healthy, could you YouTube or Google how to train and how to eat? Yeah. So the strategy is always there. Why don't people do it? Okay. How come people do like a 6-week fitness challenge? They lose all the weight. They're super motivated. They're up at the sunrises, all this sort of stuff. And then 3 months later, they put it all back on. What happens in a 6-week challenge, for example? So you can paint this analogy into your life. I try to give analogies so you can understand and really grasp it. Is what happens is you're in a great state. So the story in your head is like, I can do this around other positive people. There's an end goal. We're going to do it together. The strategy is going to be given to me. And you're surrounded by an environment that creates a great state. So you're not playing that bullshit negative story in your head. So you can follow a strategy. Okay. The moment you leave that environment of the 6-week challenge, you go back to the old you, the old habits, which reinforces the same mental state, the same mental mood. So then it changes your story. So you start playing that story again. I'm not good enough. This sucks. Poor me. So then the strategy goes out the window. For anybody to have a major shift in their life, they need to change their mental state. You need to change your state. You need to get up and move your body. So if you're watching this right now, what I want you to do is literally get up, do 10 fucking star jumps, put your arms out, head up, chest out, and then get this. Finish those little star jumps, and then arms out, roll those shoulders back, chest up, look up, and smile. You need to change that state. You need to look at the small things in life. Because the reality is, no matter how bad you fucking got it right now, man. I understand some people are going through a really tough time, and I get that. The life you have right now, the life you're taking for granted, the life that you're abusing, the life that you're fallen victim to, somebody else is praying for. Okay? Mm-hmm. You cannot momentarily be grateful and angry at one time. Mm-hmm. You need to shift into gratitude. Yes, it's easier said than done. But the best way to do that is to shift your state. Change your environment. Get up and move. Go and get around somebody. Or jump on your fucking phone and YouTube Tony Robbins. Listen to some Tony Robbins. Go on my Instagram. Send me a message. Watch some of my videos. Whatever it is. Change your state. Okay? That's the key. Because when you change your state, everything else changes. Mm-hmm. But I've got this it's almost like a little system I teach people. And it's pain plus reflection equals progress. Okay? Pain can equal setbacks, challenges, chaos, depression, anxiety, whatever it may be. Pain can mean whatever you want. But the problem is, think of the word pain and draw a circle around it. And then almost like a recycling circle. You've got arrows around the circle. People just live in this pain loop, in this death loop of pain. Poor me, this sucks, this happened to me, why me, bad luck comes in 3, I'm always sick, blah, 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 blah. And understand, whatever you focus on expands. You know? This world, you can wake up in the morning and be pissing down rain. One person went, oh, it's a shitty day, I'm going to get fucking wet, it's going to dirty the car, it's going to ruin my hair, all this stuff. Whereas a child will wake up and go, wow, it's raining, go dance in the rain. Exact same story, but changes it from your state. Okay, so what you need to do is understand that everything you've always wanted is always right in front of you. But if you're playing a shitty story and living in that pain loop, you're never going to change anything. The hardest thing for people to change is to finally admit and go, the life I have right now is my fault. It's not your upbringing. Yep. It's not the army. It's not this, it's not that. I know it sounds like that. And I know it feels like that. And it may be their fault technically. But the moment you keep pointing the finger, there's 3 ways pointing back at you. You never get to learn. That's why when you're in pain, you want to look at the pain and go, great, why is it I'm feeling this pain? And how can I change it? Pain plus reflection. Start reflecting. And when you reflect, it gives you the opportunity to progress. Just like the gym. If you fail a rep, you don't go, oh, not for me, can't do it. You're going, awesome. Can I get someone to give me a spot? Get around someone, prop you up. Think about a child, bro. Kids fucking crawl, they try to walk and they fall over their grades they need, but they don't have these limiting beliefs. Yeah. So they get up and they try again. They get up and they try again. Us adults, we go and try something or start a business or do something or try a relationship, it doesn't work out, we fucking give up. No. You need to fail. You need to fail forward. Failure, I love this saying, and I believe I've made this up. Hopefully I have, because I love it. Failure is a blessing in disguise, but it's often heavily disguised.
I like it.
Every failure you come up against has a lesson.
And
And let's think about it. Think about an iceberg. You've all seen the analogies of the icebergs. What you see pointing out of the water is like 5% and the whole valley's underneath the water. Your pain and your problem and your story, this bullshit you're playing in your head right now, at the tip of the iceberg. Underneath the valley that lies under the water that's dark, scary, cold, has 95% lessons and gifts for you. But you've got to take the courage to get under and have a look at what's going on. And you can only do that through extreme ownership. For some people, there's a guy that you may be able to relate to. Have you heard of Jocko Willink?
Yeah.
Yeah. Goosebumps. Jocko Willink, because at least like I've never served in the army. Like what you guys have done, far out. It's so inspiring, you know. You've served your country. I haven't done that. So some of you may not relate to it. Fuck, this guy can't talk. You know, he hasn't had a hard life. Jocko Willink has been through exactly what you guys have been through. And he's written a book called Extreme Ownership. I'd highly recommend it for anybody listening to this right now.
Yeah, I've got it at home.
Yeah.
I haven't read it, but I've read it.
Incredible book, man. Yeah. Incredible book.
It's funny because you mentioned a few things there, and I'd already had these written down. Victim mentality, that's huge in the military, especially for those who get out medically.
Yeah.
The army broke me. The army's not here to support me, or the military, not yet. And there's this victim mentality. That's incorrect. So there are people, I said a lot of people out there, veterans, aren't taking responsibility for themselves.
Yeah.
Which is why I was the same. For 2 years after I got out, I didn't take responsibility. I sat on the couch. I fucking blamed the military, the army, blamed the government, blamed everything. Was in this super negative mindset, drank alcohol, smoked weed, did all these things that put me in a depressive state. It wasn't until I started taking responsibility. Now, I have close friend, not anymore, but sort of, didn't need to take responsibility.
Yeah.
I don't know how to tell people that as a good friend. You sort of tell them and then they cut you off.
Yeah.
How do we get people to take responsibility? Like, do they have to hit rock bottom?
Yeah. So some people do need to hit rock bottom. Okay. The reality is, I get it, it's been hard. I'm never going to take that away from you. And the thing is, it's not just, it's not just vets. A lot of people blame external forces, blame their upbringing or their education, or they blame this didn't happen to them, or they blame an ex, or they blame the government, or they blame their boss. So this applies for everybody. But if we use, the veteran style things that come out, it's like, it's my fault, it's the army's fault or the government's fault that I'm like this and I have to struggle right now and all that sort of stuff. So I get that. I get you're angry and that sort of thing. And I completely respect that. But the reality is, if you keep blaming other people, you never, ever, ever have the opportunity to try and fix it, because you give your power away. It means you're allowing them, even if it was their fault, you're allowing them to still control your life right now. The only way forward, the only way is you must take responsibility. And that's the hardest pill to swallow. But the coolest part is, and I can promise you, and I can share this from experience, because I had a really crappy upbringing with somebody that was really close to me. The moment you stop blaming them, you don't have to forgive them. But the moment you stop blaming them, it's so, so refreshing. You literally feel lighter. Is it easy? No. But you can do it.
Yeah.
And the moment you do it, everything changes. And if you're someone that still has so much resistance and it's really hard to hold that spite and hate in, or hold, you don't want to fucking let this shit go, I encourage you to try this identity on for a week. Just go, look, for 1 week, for 7 days, I'm going to take full responsibility, ownership of my life right now. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go and pay it forward somehow. Go and compliment a stranger in the street. I'm going to actually dissect my pain and go, awesome. Yes, technically that did it to me. But how can I go, awesome? If this was my fault, what could I do right now to just be 1% better? Just do one thing. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to just go out and do one squat, go for one walk, go and compliment one stranger, whatever it is. Do that one thing, and I promise you, after 7 days, you'll feel like a completely different human.
I did something similar. I said thank you after every interaction, after everything I did that for a week, and that was fucking huge.
Yeah.
Especially when someone cuts you off and you're like, motherfucker, thank you.
Yeah.
It just completely snaps me out of that. I don't do it all the time. But yeah, just doing that for a week completely changed.
Yeah.
Just having gratitude for things. Having gratitude for me, I was angry that I got kicked out of the army, right? Well, not kicked, medically discharged. I was angry that my mental health isn't great, that my body is in pain daily. I was angry that I couldn't do the job that I did for 15 years. I couldn't test myself. I couldn't be around the people. There's many things I was angry at. Forgot what I was saying.
Like you're talking about being in the army and you were angry that, you couldn't keep doing your job and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but when I got out of the army,
It's about blaming them.
Yeah, I blamed them for everything. It wasn't until I met you, started taking responsibility. I had to actively change the way I think. I would have a thought and I'd be like, don't think that. Think this way. And every single thought, right now, my life isn't amazing. I'm not a millionaire. Here I am just running a support group, flying on the cheapest airline to come to a podcast. But when you work on yourself, about self-development and that changing your mind, belief system, and last year I wanted to kill myself this time last year. I was drinking, I was doing everything. And then this year alone, by having one person who believes in me, week on, week out believing in me, there was a couple of other people as well, but majority of the people in my life, my best mates, my family, no one asked me how my podcast is going, how the veteran support group, no one asked me how I was doing, other than you and a couple others. Just having that support there in itself was amazing. But I've grown so much because I decided to take responsibility for myself. The big turning point with me is anger. So the veterans have a big problem with anger, and that has to do with indoctrination and brainwashing to make a good soldier.
Yeah.
So to make a soldier that runs towards a fight, they have to cut away your survival instinct and your freeze instinct.
Yeah.
So we're always through a brainwashing indoctrination process, and this is all like proven scientific studies, so we're always in fight mode, but a standby fight. So we're always operating in that. So our anger is huge. We're always angry. And where it changed for me, at least to work on my anger, is I woke up one day and I said, whatever reason I had the thought in my head, if I died tomorrow, what would my daughter think of me? And I sat there for a half hour on the edge of my bed, on the end of my bed, and I thought if an angry cunt was never around.
Yeah.
So that was huge, and I cried.
Yeah.
And that was a huge turning point for me. And it was then I decided to start taking responsibility for myself. It's that for anger anyway.
Yeah.
Now I have a long ways to go. Don't get me wrong. I've still punched doors. I still get shitty, but I would go from being shitty for a week to being shitty for 5 minutes. Now that 5 minutes might be really intense.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, especially when it comes to electronics and podcast shit. Like, fuck this, the world's ending, blah, 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 it's a catastrophe.
Yeah.
But like that personal growth, I went from depressed, wanting to kill myself, to most of the days that I have a future that I look forward to. You know what I mean? I've got goals. This thing is called mission and goals.
Yeah.
I can't explain how important it is to just take responsibility.
100%, man.
That victim mentality, I have it.
Yeah.
The army broke me. The army did this.
Yeah.
And really, at the end of the day, I decided to jump out of those planes. I decided to go there. I joined the fucking army, knowing that they're probably going to have to do some fucking tough, fucking physical shit. It's going to test me beyond. That was part of the reason I joined.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm going to get fucking tested. You know what I mean? I'm going to see how much of a man I am.
Yeah.
And then to complain that I'm broken.
Yeah.
Knowing that I didn't do the correct physio, that I didn't eat well, I drank alcohol every weekend, I smoked fucking cigarettes, a pack a day, I didn't fucking stretch properly, I didn't do any of this. Now, was I taught to do any of that? No. Now they don't, you know what I mean? Now they're much better looked after, thank God. So what was I really angry at? Myself.
Yeah.
I was really angry at myself.
Yeah.
For letting myself get that way.
Yeah.
I wasn't angry at the army. The army provided me with free medical, free dental, food, gave me a decent wage. You know what I mean? I didn't do anything in the army that I didn't want to do. Yeah. So snap ankles, snap every Achilles tendon in that. Knee, 2 surgeries later, shoulder, 3 surgeries later, back surgeries, I've got like arthritis, bulging discs, everything, my back's fine. Yeah. Shoulders, mental health. But it's all me. Yeah. I decided. Yeah. I didn't decide to get a broken shoulder, if you know what I mean. But I decided to do that workout that broke my shoulder. 100%. And so that's been a huge turning point for me. I know that's hard to wrap everyone's head around and for people to fucking start taking responsibility. But once you do,
good time. Fuck. Look, like what you were saying there, it's like now, you know, instead of having bad weeks, you have like bad 5 minutes. And here's something for people that they might be able to really grasp is if you want a great life, start with having great years. If you want great years, you've got to have great quarters. If you want great quarters, you've got to have great months. If you want to have great months, you've got to have great weeks. If you want to have great weeks, you've got to have great days. Yeah. Now, to have great days, you've got to have great moments. So everything that you want comes down to managing your moments in time. Is everything going to be perfect? No, that doesn't fucking exist. So stop trying to be perfect. Stop comparing yourself to people. You got to understand, to win the war, you don't need to win every single battle. You know, every day, every moment is one of those little battles. Fall in love with the process. Fall in love with the journey. Look, let's face it. You think about your favorite movie or TV series or a book. Your greatest hero in those movies goes through chaos. They almost die or something happens, whatever it may be. That's what makes it enjoyable. But the thing is, we wish for our life to be sunshine and rainbows and cruisy. It would be very, very boring. There'd be no progression of growth, which is our #1 human core need, if we didn't have the ups and downs. So when it comes down to it, it's like, you know, as Jim Rohn would say, who was Tony Robbins' mentor, don't wish for things to be easier. wish for you to be better.
It's one of my favorite sayings.
No.
Jim Rohn.
Yeah. So you've got to, this is a journey of who you get to become, not who you have to become or because I have to. It's who you get to become. That's the beauty of this. You have no limit. And the only way you get better is through pressure.
Yep. That's
the coolest fucking part. So you need to find a way. You've got to fall in love with the ups and the downs. That's the key to this, man. It's who you get to become along this journey. And the thing is, you're going to have one hell of a fucking story to share with one day, or your kids or your friends one day, and they're going to look at you and go, wow, that was fucking cool, man. I can't believe you went died. Like, what? You were down and out at home, locked yourself in a room, you almost killed yourself. Fuck, man. And then now, wow, now you're doing a marathon. That's sick, bro.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if you told your story and it was just everything was easy. Like, oh, fucking boring.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a good quote, and I'm misquoting here, but this is the general gist of it: is what you go through in life, your story, what you go through creates your story, and your story will become the instruction manual for someone else.
Yeah,
like I'm misquoting it there, but like I've written in the front of my book, the one that I forgot. It's in the front. It's my reminder to myself.
Yeah,
and I was just how amazing, like, and it makes me good, like. I've gone through some shit in my life, ups and downs, a lot of downs, coming out on the top now.
Yeah.
And doing this podcast, and just talking with people and shit, we're going to pass information. It's what I love. It's not, I don't think, like, the whole reason I'm doing this is to give people information.
Yeah.
So they can do with it what they will, but hopefully, if they're in a bad place, to save their lives. You want to chat about anything?
Like, it's like, if I could talk about anything, it's like my greatest blessing and the hardest thing I've ever had to do, is being a dad.
Yeah, let's chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
So
like we've been talking for an hour and a half. Like they're going to get a lot out of it anyway. But you know what it's like being a dad. Like it's hard.
It's my greatest challenge.
Yeah. One of the things that I had to learn like early on as a dad is like, it forces you to become more. It really does, because we can either pass on wisdom or trauma to our young ones. So if you want to pass on wisdom, if you want to help your children have a greater life than you did, which doesn't come down to the money, it comes down to the love and the connection, you've got to work on yourself. Not for you, but for them. When it comes down to it, it's like your children are your greatest gurus. And the coolest part about that is if you're being triggered or you're upset about how they're behaving, it's a reflection of you. And that was one of the hardest things I had to learn. I was like, no, it's just she's a little brat, or he's doing this, or what was that? It's like, no, it's like you created them. You taught them everything they know. So one of the things for me, it's like being a father, it's been one of the greatest healing journeys I've ever had to go on. Because there's moments that come up and I was like, fuck, I remember my dad did that to me. I hated it. So it forced me to go, cool. It's like, how can I be better? How can I learn more about myself? And I've got a daughter like yourself, it's how hard that is. I've got a son. It's like one of the most valuable lessons I learned was from a mentor that I look up to. His name's Sabri Subi. He's based in Melbourne. And he got asked, for you, what's it mean to be a great father or a leader? He goes, well, look, it goes hand in hand. Leadership is how you live, day in, day out. And he said, the greatest drive for me, I've got 3 daughters, and I need to understand that my daughters, how I act with them, how I treat them, is what they'll look for in a man when they're older. And that broke me. Because my daughter, she's got very big emotion. She's only 2 going on 15. And she's hard to handle sometimes, man. It's like, I really struggle with it. Like, she'll be chucking some pretty crazy tantrums and losing it at me. And I'm like, fuck, how do I deal with this? And the next day after I listened to that podcast, probably 3 months ago, I changed forever. Because it was a morning where I was getting her ready and she was cracking it at me, literally telling me to get out of her face, swinging punches. And she's almost 3, like in a month. But it was hard to handle. The old me, but be quiet, like, don't talk like that, or go to your room, or do this. Like, I would react. The problem is when you react, it's like, what are you teaching them? When shit's going wrong, you just react out of anger. And in that moment, I sat on the couch next to her and she was having a massive meltdown, telling me to go away, kicking and screaming. I said to myself, I was like, the 30-year-old Malibu that's married, that's having a hard time, and she's having a meltdown, how would I want her partner to be in that moment in time? Would I want him to stand up and walk away and storm out of the room? Or would I want him to yell at her and tell her to be quiet? Or stop being a little sook, like I would have said? Or would I want him to be there, zip his lips, and just be there in that moment and create a safe space for her and sit there for as long as she needs? And in that moment, I sat there for probably 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, she'd come down, she goes, Daddy, can I have a cuddle? And I was like, of course you can, darling. And that was a massive shift for me. The same thing, man, it's like, if you're brand new to this podcast or if you've followed me, whatever it may be, it's like, I'm no different than you. All you see on social media, really, it's a highlight reel. I'm on a constant journey of learning. I fail every single day, man. And it's like, I'm constantly doing the best that I can with the tools that I have to find a way that I can improve every single day as well.
Yeah.
You know, so that's been massive.
That's a huge lesson. Because, you know, Dion, I've chatted to you about my relationship with my daughter, and I've had ups and downs. Right now, it's a huge down. And I think it is a big problem for a lot of veterans, especially the male veterans, because a lot of veterans go through divorce. It's highly prevalent in the military world, just because of the nature of our job. We're away for so long that families break apart because wives and kids need support as much as everyone else. So for those who don't know, I'm going through a bit of a rough time with my daughter at the moment. We're not speaking great. She's 14. Now, a lot of it is to do with, I assume, my anger, my outlook on life was, I don't really know what's happening. I know my anger has a lot to do with it, even though my anger now is a million times better than what it was a year and a half ago. The relationships with our kids. Now, I know a lot of veterans struggle to even see their kids. But for those who are struggling in their kids and like broken, don't get to see them as much, maybe their relationship isn't what they want with the kids. What advice would you give? I know you are with your kids, but like, it's a really heartbreaking thing that divorced, separated parents have to go through. Not even like, let alone what the kid has to go through. Like, I'm a child of divorce, separation, and all that, and that was hard for me. Well, I don't know if it was hard for me. I blacked that out of my childhood. I don't remember anything up to 14. What for those who are struggling, especially you being a father,
Broken families and stuff.
broken family. Now, one of your Steve, a friend of mine, he runs the dad's community. That's who's messaging the dad's community. That's going off kids. It's here, and it's 2,000-3,000 men who that are dads and struggle. Lessons you've learned from your life. If you know any lessons from Steve's group and from your chats with him and stuff, how would you, like, especially being a parent, how can a dad, mum be a better parent? You just saying, you gave a couple of examples. But also, you talk about having a positive mindset. One of the negative things, heavily negative things, is your kids and providing for your kids and stuff like that. How do we put people into that positive mindset when it comes to being a parent? Well,
I don't know if you actually know this, but Xander has a different mum.
I do know.
Cool. So Xander's mum, she's lovely. She's a great mum to Xander. But we had a really rough time when we split, and she disappeared and ran away with him for 6 months. And I had to get federal police involved, the government, well, not the government, like the courts, that sort of stuff. $152,000 later, and courts, trial, that sort of stuff. Finally got some back. So I know what it's like to go through when your own blood is taken away from you and dangled above your head, especially as a male. And if you're a male, you definitely relate what I'm about to go through, is you have no power. You know, it's unfortunately the justice system right now. It's if you run away with your child, you'll be locked up. Female runs away with your child, you got nothing. And you go through the courts, and it's unfortunately it's favoured to the female. We're lucky enough to have Xander full time now because his mum. So yeah, we have Xander full time. She does have him a couple of nights a week, and she's a great mum while she's got him. But no, one thing that I can offer here is I don't have the solution on. I tried to kill myself. You know, I drove my Mercedes into a lake and tried to take my own life when I couldn't have my son. And that was a really dark time. One important thing is that I could say is get around people that are going to support you. Join the dad's community. Get around other people that get you, because it can be really tough. But one thing that I made a promise to with myself is no matter what his mum put me through, and I still receive abusive texts to this day. I literally received one probably 5 days ago. I didn't respond straight away. And I eventually responded and said, thank you so much for the beautiful message. One promise I made to myself and to Xander without him knowing, I said, no matter how much hell his mum puts me through, I will always treat her like a queen in front of me, so that he knows how his mum should be treated. So if she ever goes into a relationship and that partner treats her bad, he will know to be a man and stand up for his mum. That's been one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, because trust me, I haven't wanted to be nice to her.
That's something maybe I need to do.
That was tough. But to this day, she may not agree with me here if she ever watches this, but I can put my hand on my heart. I think she would know deep down as well that no matter what we've gone through, I have always done the right thing in favor of her and in favor of what's best for my son. So all I can suggest you do is I understand it may be tough and your kids may be taken away from you, but unfortunately, the justice system won't support you. And the problem is, even if you try to do the right thing and rock up to their door to see your kids, they'll put a DV on you. You know, I've got 3 DVOs on me for just trying to see my son. I got charged with stalking, and I had to prove my innocence. I was guilty to prove, and I was found guilty because I wanted to go to the house to see my son at the old house that I used to have. It's a really tough one, man. I'm still battling that to this day. And the reality is, even though we've got court orders and stuff in place, she can still disappear tomorrow and I can't do anything. I'll get another DVO put on me. I'll get charged. I'll be locked up.
Yeah.
It's really tough, man. So one thing that you can do is you need to focus on what you can control. Unfortunately, we can't control those circumstances. And I understand it might hurt. It might be painful, but don't do dumb shit. Don't do what your reactive mind wants to do. Don't do what your fight or flight mind wants to do, because it will fucking ruin you. Get around a community like the dad's community, talk to somebody, be around people that can be your support when you need it during these hardest times. I wish I could give you the advice on that, but I don't have it because I still fight it to this day. I'm far from perfect, but one thing that I do is I'll never, ever, ever put myself in a position where she can take me down legally and paint a story for me to my son. And, you know, they might be telling your kids stories, but one day the truth always comes out. Be strong, be true to yourself, and focus on what you can control. What you can control is what you do day to day, and get around other people, positive people. Don't go to the pub. Don't go do what the average civilian will do and go and sink their sorrows and numb themselves, which may feel easier at the time, but I get that. Go get around other people that are going to demand a higher standard, that make you feel uncomfortable, that hold you to a high standard. Be like, fuck, I don't want to pick up this phone call because he's going to call me out. You know, I'm sure you've had times like that. It's like, fuck, I don't want to talk to Dion. Because I'll hold you to a high standard because I love you and I want to demand your highest version out of you. So get around people like that. That's the advice I would offer. The bigger the level, the bigger the devil. It's just like life's a video game. Think about it. I'm sure we'll play Crash Bandicoot or Mario or something. Every island or every new level you get to, you die fucking 40 times.
Yep.
But you get better.
Yep.
And what sucks, you know what sucks? You get to the end of the level where you fight the boss. You've got 1 life. The boss has got 10. You've got to kill him 10 times before you get to advance. Coolest part is, every time you get to a new level, it demands a higher level version of you. I'm better. Work on yourself more, man. Like, get around people that are going to help you evolve. Challenge yourself. You know, I was told with my back injuries, you're not allowed to run. So I'm like, sweet, sign up to a marathon in August next year, the full marathon, because they said I can't.
So it's
You
funny
know,
because I've been
push
contemplating,
yourself.
I've been contemplating doing the same because I haven't run
Yeah,
in 2 years, 3 years.
yeah,
Like, my knee used to dislocate
yeah,
after my surgery, it dislocate when I ran. So it's like, I'm not running again. But
yeah,
now I'm like, fuck it. I reckon I can run.
yeah,
Like, it dislocated, put a knee strap on. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Strengthen the knee up
yeah.
around.
Run on one leg.
Run on your head. Hop, like, hop a marathon.
Yeah, yeah. So the key to all of this, you know, whether it's business, relationships, your family, or fitness, get around other people that have been through what you've been through and learn from them. Pick up a book, or like if you can't get to a certain whatever it may be, like listen to a podcast, you know, get around and change your.
Well, the question was, what's next for you? What's your goal? Like, so you've just achieved $60 million in you, like,
That's not my bank account. That's not my bank
help
account.
businesses
Yeah.
achieve $60 million.
Yeah.
Grow.
Yeah.
What's your plan? So you get married in 3 weeks. What's your 5-year plan?
Yeah. So this next 12 months, so I don't own a family home. We rent a beautiful penthouse, my family. But my big goal for this next coming year is to, you know, buy our family home, something they call home, you know, whether it's a block of land, like a little hobby farm or something, we go there on weekends, or that's a big goal for me, man. It's like, yeah, it's tricky. I'll answer it in a couple of ways. Matthew McConaughey's got this book called Green Lights, incredible book. And what's really cool for this is the audio book. He's speaking, and I just love it. But his goal would be very similar to what I would say. And, you know, he had someone say to him, like on a podcast, he said, Matthew, you know, and what's your goal in 5 years? He goes, my goal is to, you know, chase the man of who I could be in 5 years, chase my best version, you know, is to be my version in 5 years. And that same person put up with him 5 years later and said, Matty, how do you go? Like, what's your goal now that you're 5 years on, you've become that version? He goes, to chase the next version in another 5 years. I'm obsessed with finding my limits, you know, hence why I'm signing up to a marathon, you know. It's why it's like, for example, like one of my cars, you know, it's like I'm obsessed with like seeing how much horsepower we can get out of it, just testing its limits. And I'm just obsessed with testing the limits with everything. But my big goal, bro, is to paint the analogy, it's like the real mission for my company is to be the LVMH of the business coaching industry. LVMH, for people that don't know it, is the Louis Vuitton Moët Hennessy Group. And the CEO of that group is, his name is Bernard Holt. And he has created a company that people line up for out the doors and pay $5,000 for a bag. But it's the feeling and the experience he gives these people. And these people pride themselves in carrying these bags around. Love or hate what people spend on those bags. He's created a brand that inspires people to literally sleep outside on the concrete to be a part of it. I want to do that for the business coaching industry. And the only way I'm going to do that is by helping other people like yourself, other business owners, other humans live a great life and genuinely fall in love with the journey. Fall in love with climbing through broken glass some days and climbing over mountains and fighting off dragons to achieve their dreams. So for me, man, it's like my goal is to create the number one or the Amazon of the coaching industry in the world in the next 5 years. But by 2030 is our goal. By 2030, we will be the number one business coaching consulting, you know, firm in the world. How am I going to do that? I've got no fucking ideas. But it's going to require a better version of me right now, or a more wiser version of me right now. And the only way I'm going to get wiser, the only way I'm going to get better is to keep challenging myself. And the only way I can challenge myself is I have to fall in love with the failures. I have to fall in love with the ups and the downs. And the way that I do that is I fall in love with my clients. You know, I move mountains for my clients. I will do anything for my clients. And when you can do that for your clients and they feel it, that's why I have clients come back and go, how can I sign up for the next 5 years? You know, as I create raving fans. And the only way I can do that is by helping them live a great life, not just make more money in their business. Because the coolest part about business and what I do, the only way I can make more money is by helping more people. That's a pretty fucking cool thing.
That's pretty cool. Service is, I think,
Yeah.
my calling in life too.
Yeah.
Service to others.
So it's not about the money. Money's not important. Like, a lack of money can cause a lot of stress, you know, in families. But it's not about the money. It's what you can do with the money. It's the impact you can create. It's using it as a tool. Having a great relationship with money can be very healthy when you understand what you can do with it in the right ways. So yeah, that's where I'm going with. So it's not crystal clear like I teach some of my clients it should be, but it's heading me in a direction that I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
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 It's
So you're
it's
looking forward to the future, which is huge because a lot of people
it's
don't.
little things, man. It's like, for example, if somebody wants to work with us, it's an application only process. Just because you've got $40,000 or $60,000 to work with us doesn't, as silly as it doesn't mean you can just work with us. It's like, it's got to be a match. It's got to be like a soul alliance, you know, like we've sort of got, you know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, how can I help you get what you want if we're not seeing eye to eye? Funny thing was, man, this guy reached out to me on Instagram 2 days ago at midnight, middle of the night. I woke up and I missed the inbox because it was like, I wasn't following him or anything like that. So I went to like my requests and then he reacted to my story. So I got to see that. And he goes, hey, man, I just saw your story with XYZ. Can we just have a phone call? I'm like, yeah, I need you to answer these questions. And then we jump on a Zoom call. I tried to keep everything structured. And for some reason, I didn't do it that way with him. And he sent me his number. And what's really weird is I was cooking the barbecue for the family last night. And usually I take Fridays off and I'm all in with the family, but something drew me to call this guy. It was like something like, as silly as it sounds, like our souls, I had to call this guy and I never do this. I just put my headphones in, plug in, put your phone in my pocket, started cooking the barbecue, and I just called this guy. We're on the phone for probably half an hour, 40 minutes. It was like we'd known each other for a decade. And 5 minutes into the call, he was like, mate, just sign me up. And usually I'd be like, no. Like, we've got to go through the full application process, make sure we're a match. And by the end of it, I set our price. I was like, you know what? Let's do this. And he goes, mate, let's do this. I'm all in for 6 months. Let's go.
Yeah, nice.
And for somebody to do that on the phone, for me, like for us to feel just so comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
It's like when you get to a certain position in life, man, it's like you meet people and you can talk to people. Some of my best mates I've never met. They're purely online. I know them through Instagram. It's weird, man. Some of my clients I've never met. Never met them. But it's like when you have these conversations with certain people, it's like you just get each other. You've got this weird trust. He literally signed up and was willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars over the phone. He didn't even know what I did at this stage. But it's weird, man. That client now, it's like we've got this weird bond and relationship where I will do anything for him and his family to get the result that they deserve. And yeah, it's nice to be in a place in life where it becomes so much more than the money. It's the impact and the results you want to get for the people is what warms you up more, like the message I shared earlier with Claire.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Yeah, when you showed me that message, it's just like,
Yeah.
you gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, it's special, man.
Yeah.
It's special. So yeah, that's where we're headed.
Alrighty. Now, I assume you're human. You have bad days, I
Yeah.
assume.
100%.
Now, you're a business owner who's about personal development, positive mindset, business. On your bad days, how do you pull yourself through your bad days, especially to be there for other people? Because that's something I struggle with Mags and support group. When I'm having my bad days, I'm fairly quiet on Mags. Like I'm like it's a couple of days, it was a couple of days this week where I didn't even post in the morning, which is unlike me. Like normally just do,
Bro, this is probably the perfect way to wrap this up. The reason why I say that is because I want people to never, ever, ever think that he's done this, but I couldn't do it. No fucking different to you. I have bad days. I have horrible days. But understand there's this law of the universe that works like gravity, and it's called the law of polarity and the law of balance. Mother Nature's really good at balancing the world through, you know, fires and earthquakes. It's weird the way the world works. This law of polarity means that you cannot just be positive. However equally positive you are, you must have a drawback that's equally negative. Now, everybody knows me as Mr. Positive. I'm positive and I'm go, go, go 24/7. I do not turn off. I get balanced out ruthlessly sometimes. And some people, especially my family, gets to see this, but some of my clients have been with me for a while. They will notice this. There's a time every 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes it's 8 weeks, where I'll wake up and I am in a dark place, real dark. And because I'm so okay with that place now, and I don't judge myself for it and don't say I'm a shit human for it like I used to, I wake up and I go, it could be on a Monday and I could have a day full of calls with clients that are paying me $1,000 an hour for a call. And because I've got such a great relationship with them, I'm actually going to go, hey guys, I'm out today, I'm logging off. And I will lie in bed for the day and I'll just listen to some binaural beats. I'll go all in more on the nourishment and nutrition side of things, and I'll take a day off unapologetically, and I won't feel guilty, and I'll have a day to myself. And I might go for a bike ride, I might go have a sauna or get a massage, and I'll do stuff to fill my cup up, and that's what I do. So I'll wake up and the old me will try and push through and it will send me into a downward spiral, but I just wake up and I'm okay with it, and simply be like, hey, look, what's up? And I'm like, I just need a day for me.
You just allow yourself to feel.
Yeah, and that's what I'll do, man, is I'll literally, unapologetically switch everything off and I'll just take a day to do nothing. And a lot of people, the old me would have been feeling guilty or feel like I'm not doing anything in that moment, like you're being lazy. No, I'm just recharging, man, like a battery. It needs to stop and recharge. So I think that's really important. It's like, people, you need to fill up your own cup. There's a thing that I do with my clients called the Wheel of Life, and you can YouTube Tony Robbins' Wheel of Life. If you can't find it, message Joel and I'll send Joel a video on a thing for it. And it's a little like pie graph, it's like a pizza slice, a pizza with slices. There's 8 areas of life. There's hobbies, financials, business, career, relationships. There's health and fitness. There's contribution, spirituality. And you need to look at those areas of life and go, great, which one's really lacking right now? And the thing is, usually in my life, business is just lit up, fucking on fire. Then my health will give, or my family will give. How can you balance, I don't believe in work-life balance. I believe in work-life integration. Work is my life. So I surround myself with people that align with my values. And I don't have bad days. I have bad moments. And I don't suppress my emotions. I let it out, and then I get on with it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And do you do like a daily routine in the military, call it a morning routine? Like certain things you do as a routine.
Yeah.
Do you do something that benefits you, like that you've tested and adjusted over the years?
Yeah.
What helps you do? Work out in the mornings, in the evenings?
It's funny, man. A lot of people ask, like, what's your morning routine? What's the secret to success? It's different for everybody. Like, the old me would have been like, oh, you've got to get up at 4 a.m, like before the sun to be successful, all this sort of stuff. It's like, if that doesn't work for you, sleep in. And then you could work during the night, for example. My brother, he's been very, very successful in what he's done. But he sleeps in every day till 11 a.m. And then he'll get up, he'll do a little bit of work, and then he'll play some video. Video games for him is where he feels childish, creative. It's like meditation for him. Find what works for you. Don't beat yourself up that you need a strict routine and have an ice bath in the morning. But what works for me is every day. So even Sunday, no matter what time I go to bed this week, I still wake up at the same time every single day. I'm up at 10 to 5. I go to the gym. So I wake up, I'll get dressed. I've got everything ready at the end of the bed, so I don't have to try and find it in the dark, not wake up the family. Got everything ready the night before. My pre-workout, my drink bottle's ready to go in my gym bag. Everything's ready to go. So there's no excuses for me. Wake up, I'm out the door by 5. I train till about 6:15. And then I come home and then I switch with Sim. So my routine is I get up and I exercise, and that's my moment of time for me to start with. Then it's organized chaos in the morning, organizing the kids with their breakfast and all that sort of stuff, getting them ready, for the day and that sort of thing. So same thing. It's like I have structured meetings, but even like I said to you, I was like, hey bro, the goal is to pick you up by 8.
Yeah.
But I don't apologize. I'm like, but it might be different, so give or take. And if that doesn't work for you, cool, bro, we're not going to work together.
Yeah.
It's like, if you can't be flexible because I've got a family, my family comes first.
Yeah.
So I structure everything around like I get up and I exercise. No matter, I've got my Bucks next weekend. I will still get up and I'll exercise at the same time.
Okay.
Like there's been moments where I wake up, I'm so tired and exhausted, and I'm like, I need to sleep in. And I'll sleep in, but I'll feel more shit for it because I didn't do anything to fill my cup up. You know, I'll be on the back foot all day. So that works for me. May not work for everybody, but that's my routine each day. But I have quite a good diet and that sort of thing as well. Like, you remember, I enjoy like a pizza, or we have date night tonight and I'll have, you know, maybe some pasta or something, or we might go to Rice Boy and have something, some nice dinner. But it's, I understand that this is the only vehicle we've got. You've got to feed it great fuel. So I have a great diet, which helps me a lot energetically and that sort of thing. That's why, you know, I am very go, go, go. And I give my body great fuel so that this vehicle can get me there.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And how do you get people, your business, your like clients, to be confident and believe in themselves in the day to day when they're like broken on the inside? You're not broken on the inside, but like, we don't like that term, but like
I'd almost
they have no self-confidence. Like, I think when we started talking, my self-confidence and self-belief would have been fucking non-existent.
Yeah. So I do think it's a little bit different with that. Is I don't have one thing that fits all. And I think that's why a lot of people do come to me, because I don't give them a cookie cutter course. Everything is tailored to them. Yes, I have my methods, like my mental model and all my systems and strategies for businesses and teams, but I craft everything to fit the person. But I think the biggest thing is, bro, is I genuinely, whoever I work with, it's like I said, it's application only. I genuinely believe in them so much. I think that gives them so much confidence to start with, because I believe in them so much. It's like, they're like, fuck, this motherfucker believes in me more than me. Maybe he's right.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. But same thing, it's like, I've got such a good gut instinct. It's like, I'll follow up with you and I'll call you, I'll text you, I'll message you on different. There's been times I've voxed you on 2 different numbers, text 2 different numbers, called you and Facebooked you. Like, I won't let you get away with being average.
Yeah.
You know, I'll help you and I'll create a safe space to force it at a higher standard with you. And I'll push you, not to breaking point, but I'll push you to safely show you that you've got what it takes. And I think that's what it does. And you need someone around you that genuinely loves you with zero intention, no bias about you, that can push you with pure intention.
Well, Dion, thanks for spending a couple of hours with me.
Mate, thank you.
That was a bit of a shit show, but
progress over perfection, mate.
Exactly.
Enjoy it.
4th one. So yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I think the guys and girls and listeners got a fuck ton out of this. So we'll definitely do it again. There's definitely more questions. I just forgot my notepad with 900 questions written on it. And then brain's been a bit scrambled this morning because of everything that's been going wrong. But I've absolutely enjoyed this. Like, even I've taken a lot away and chat to you all the time. So hopefully everyone else did. Let's definitely do it again. Thank you, because the information you just passed out there was amazing.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I feel blessed.
Thank you. I feel blessed too.
Bye.